And that is, the FDIC has been criticized in the current crisis for basically using a 20th century game book for 21st century problems. And that, for example, it is imprudent for the FDIC to be selling assets from failed banks in this environment when the market is so severely depressed. Any reactions to that, and to the extent you think they should be using newer tools, what should those be?
Oh, when I give talks about the crisis and the causes of the crisis, my list usually has 20 institutions, organizations to blame. We don't get into a mess like this because of banks or just mortgage brokers. It takes everybody working together. It takes the Congress, not doing anything with Freddie and Fannie. And in a systemic crisis, the object is to try to prevent a systemic crisis where the impact hits the real economy, and that's where we are. But once it does, then it's government's business. And therefore, all the things we're doing now, to me, whether I like them or don't like certain ones, I say are all part of the program to deal with the systemic crisis. And it's the right way to deal with it. The problem in the Depression was, and part of it was, one, the Federal Reserve Board opposed loosening up and providing more liquidity to the economy early on. That was the first big mistake. The second big mistake was Franklin Delano Roosevelt declared the Depression over and started pulling money back, and it dropped right back down again, and it took World War II to make the comeback. And I think we've got at the Fed at least some people who've read history and know about it and are doing the right thing. So whether I quibble this is right or wrong, or people have changed their minds, I think that's minor against the view of the other. But going forward, I mean, you can list a lot of issues. Part of it's greed, the great American principle that drives us. But what happens to it all? We're going to have a revision of the financial services regulation system. How is that going to sort itself out? My own prejudice, the Fed gets between 25 and 50 of the largest financial organizations, or the ones most systemically prone, let's not say largest, be there commercial banking, investment banking, private fund, hedge fund, insurance, whatever. And we don't have two layers like today, just crazy, like with Citigroup and Citibank, the Fed and the controller. Just eliminate that. For me, another agency to take care of all the others. The SEC, I mean, one of the problems with the SEC is cultural. They are, for the most part, a really good consumer protection enforcement agency. They are not as good at prudential supervision. Well, we say they don't have many people that prudentially supervise anymore, but that's done. But the SEC also does a great job on accounting and disclosure. So there's going to be a reformed SEC. I don't think it's just you take the CFTC and put the FTC together. That just isn't going to do it. It needs to be far more broader based than that. The one thing I hope we don't get into is further criminalization of activities. The thing that bothered me the most this past week was Lloyd's, the UK bank, which did naughty things by stripping off the name of its Somalian and Iranian customers when it was making payments. But the action was taken by the New York DA and the Justice Department. We didn't see the civil side. We didn't see OFAC. We didn't see bank supervisors. I'd like to see a little bit more on the civil side in spanking and less on the criminal side, because the risks are too great. I mean, we cannot have a risk-adverse financial system. If you're going to make money, you have to take risks. If you want a lot of money, a lot of risks. But, a Madoff, yes, but it's, I think we're going to be heading more and more towards criminalization of finance.